ॐ नित्यशुद्धबुद्धमुक्त वेदान्ताम्बुजभास्करं नमामि युगकर्तारम् आर्तनाथं वीरेश्वरं मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे विवेकानन्दयतिवरं यथाग्नेर्दाहिका शक्तिरामकृष्णे स्थिता हि या सर्वविद्यास्वरूपां तां शारदां प्रणमाम्यहम्. My respectful pranams to revered Vice President Maharaj, revered Manager Maharaj, revered Balbhadrananji Maharaj, Swami Ishtavratananji Maharaj, Swami Chandrakantananji Maharaj, and all elders. Love and best wishes to junior monks and brahmachari brothers, and love and best wishes and respects to dear and beloved devotees of Sri Ram Krishna Ma and Swamiji. We heard two beautiful talks on our beloved Swamiji. The first one by Chandrakantananji Maharaj. He began so beautifully quoting memoirs of Sister Christian Greenstidel, telling that Swamiji didn't belong to this world. He is in a class by himself. And then Chandrakantananji so beautifully said Swamiji is a great blend of Dev Bhav, that is divine and human aspects, and so many beautiful anecdotes, illustrations he gave, and proved that Swamiji is not only an aspect of Shiva, not only Shivavatara, but also an avatar of Narayan. And then Swami Ishtavratananji began saying that Swamiji is a warrior, fighting between, he's waging a war against these material forces. And then Thakur's command, Thakur's stamp of authority, saying Jai Radha Premamayi, and then said our Swamiji has so many aspects. He is a versatile genius. He is not only divine, but he is fun-loving, full of love, rasik. And so it was a treat to listen to both of these enlightened speakers. There is a beautiful anecdote. Sri Ramakrishna in the Gospel, he says, it is July 13, 1885. Thakur was at Balram Basu's house, Rath Yatra, chariot festival, car festival. There Thakur says, by dint of austerity, by dint of tapasya, one can obtain God as one's son. God incarnates himself in the house of householders. He says, Divine Mother. There is a beautiful, very touching incident Sri Ramakrishna is narrating. On the way to Kamarpukur, there is a place called Ranjit Rai Digha, a pond named after Ranjit Rai. He was a big landlord. He was a zamindar, had plenty of property, but he was a great devotee of Divine Mother. So he worshipped Divine Mother, and Mother was pleased with him and said, I will give you a boon. I will be born in your house as your daughter. So the daughter, Divine Mother, took birth in Ranjit Rai's house. She loved that baby intensely, all the time spending time with her, playing with her. One day, unconsciously, as he was very busy with his administrative matters, he was a landlord, naturally he was so busy, he just unconsciously said to me, Chale jao, go away, leave me alone. So that small baby, okay father, I will go. So she goes there, she purchases a pair of bangles from that peddler, and then tells him, there is a box in my house, take money from that box. So then father afterwards, frantic search, and somebody said, two small little hands with bracelets are there, they are visible in the pond. Then they all went and saw those hands had disappeared. So Thakur tells Master Mahashay, everything is true. All this is true. You must have faith in these incidents, in these matters, in these stories. They are not cock and bull stories. By the virtue, by the dint of austerity, you can attract God. You can have God as your son. So here we should be grateful with heartfelt gratitude. I bow down at the feet of Bhuvaneshwari Devi and Vishwanath Datta, who gave us this great Swamiji. Ratna Garbha Nari, Ratna Prashavilo, Bibhora Bala Sannasi. That's how Girish Chandra goes, says, this Bhuvaneshwari Devi Swamiji goes into ecstasy. Whatever I am today, it is all because of my mother. In one place, Swamiji said, both my father and mother, they prayed, fasted for 2 continuous years to get me. They brought me to this world consciously, not by accident. So Swamiji says, I owe my intelligence, my religious instincts, purity. It's all because of my mother. My intelligence, memory, purity, religious instincts, all because of my mother. She was a lady of regal bearing. Sister Christine says, Swamiji's mother, Bhuvaneshwari Devi, the empress of the universe, she carried herself like a queen. That was the majesty, that was the grandeur, that regal bearing she had. And Swamiji's father, an extraordinary man, so generous. I think Bhupendranath Datta, Swamiji's youngest brother, says, it was like a disease. He was not Vishwanath Datta, he was Vishwanath Datta, so full of generosity, totally generous and unselfish, giving away everything to people. Whoever came asking for alms, begging for alms. One day Narendranath Swamiji says, Father, what are you doing? You are encouraging these drug addicts, these alcoholics. What is this? Then Vishwanath Babu says, Naren, you don't understand. There is terrible suffering in this world, my son. I am not encouraging them. When they beg for alms, I cannot say no. I cannot deny. So they can at least forget the misery for a few seconds, for a few minutes. You will come to understand about the world's misery when you grow old. So his father was so generous. So this mother, great mother Bhuvaneshwari and father Vishwanath Datta had prepared Swamiji completely. His physical, intellectual well-being was taken care of by Swamiji's parents. Swamiji had a strong physique, as Kamala, as our Chandranji said. Swamiji was a genius, good at everything, boxing, wrestling, music, good at studies, mastered Eastern and Western philosophy, psychology, everything, unbelievable, swimming, horse riding, you name it, Swamiji was a master there. So his father and mother ensured that Narendranath got the best of education. And so it was easy for Thakur to give him the spiritual illumination, the Nirvikalpa Samadhi. And then coming to the birth, mother herself said, my Naren is of divine origin, imbued with purity. He came down, he was brought to this world by Thakur to accomplish his work. So here we understand Thakur himself had to go to Saptarshi Loka, that undifferentiated, luminous consciousness, assume the form of a small, beautiful baby. You cannot refuse a baby, you cannot deny a baby. Even the most stone-hearted criminal will not deny, will not refuse a baby. This Swami, this Saptarshi, chief of Saptarshi, a little water. This chief of Saptarshi, Swamiji, was deep in meditation, finding great bliss in the communion with the infinite consciousness. So this small baby goes there to that sage, venerable sage, elderly sage, in deep meditation, profound meditation. That baby, that child, puts its beautiful arms across the neck and tries to wake it up. The sage was in deep meditation. Finally, the sage opens his eyes, doesn't speak anything, but gives us the smiles. So it was a kind of consent. Then the child says, the divine child says, I am going down, so you also come for my work. So that is Swamiji's origin. And as everybody knows, because the more we think of Swamiji, the more we discuss Swamiji, the more we study, we get purified. That is the effect, that is the advantage, that is the profit. Both the listeners as well as the speakers, we are benefited because it has the ability to penetrate and cut asunder all our samskaras, vasanas. Such is the purifying influence, magical effect, divine magical effect these satsangs have. So Swami, we know Narendranath goes there to Dakshineshwar. Thakur, with folded hands, he tells, you are Nararishi, you have come here to remove the sufferings of people. Why are you so unkind? Why are you so cruel? Why do you keep me waiting? Please come. So this Thakur with folded hands, he is pleading, Narendranath, please come again and again. Then, day and night, you can ask, whenever young people ask me how to meditate, when I know that these people find it difficult to meditate, I just say, look at the picture of Swami Vivekananda, either this Swamiji's picture in meditation pose or with folded hands. You take any picture of Swamiji and think of him. That is meditation. Thinking of Swamiji is real meditation, because Swamiji is the perfect representation of God. In one place, Swamiji said, Kali is the perfect representation of God. For us, Swamiji is the perfect representation of God. So, this Thakur and Swamiji, it's a beautiful chapter in the annals of history. Girish Chandra Ghosh in that immortal poem says, Gurupada Dharana Atma Samarpana Mahahridena the Mahasamilana. This stream blending its waters, mingling with this ocean called Sri Ramakrishna. There is a striking similarity between Sri Krishna and Arjun and Sri Ramakrishna and Swamiji. There, Arjun is telling on the battlefield of Krishna, I don't want to fight, मैं युद्ध नहीं करूँगा, मैं युद्ध से भाग जाऊँगा. Then Shri Krishna says, Arjun, klaibyam mas magamah partha, na etatvayi upapadyate, kshudram hridaya daurvalyam, tyaktvottishta parantapa. Arjun, ये तुम्हें शोभा नहीं देता है. This does not befit you. You are a warrior, parantapa, scorcher of foes. You are talking like a mean-minded creature. This does not befit you. ये अनुचित है, शोभा नहीं देता है. Exactly the same way we find in Dakshineshwar, this drama was enacted in a different way. There, Thakur asked, what do you want? Swamiji says, Naren says, I don't want anything. Like Shukadeva, I want to be completely immersed in Samadhi. Now and then I'll come down, have a morsel of food, again plunge into meditation. Thakur uses the same words, fie on you, shame on you. I thought you were a Mahatma. Like Krishna is telling, you are a hero, Arjun. हे पार, तुम एक महावीर हो, तुम कायर की भांति बात कर रहे हो, ये तुम्हें शोभा नहीं देता. Exactly, Thakur says, Naren, I thought you were a Mahatma, like a mighty banyan tree, giving shelter to thousands of people, writhing in pain and suffering in agony. Instead of that, you're so mean-minded, so selfish. You are interested in your self-interest. So that, the rest is history. So here, we find another incident when Swamiji returned from the West. He told Mother, this time I did not have to jump to cross the ocean. I sailed in their ships to their own lands. So Mother remembers this and tells, my Naren told me like this. And here we remembered Bhuvaneshwari Devi, Vishwanath Datta, Raghumani Devi, Swamiji's maternal grandmother, and I would like to pay my homage on this day to Swamiji's greatest disciple in South India, Alasinga Perumal. The period where Alasinga Perumal served Swamiji must be written in golden letters. Such was his love for Swamiji, total dedication to Swamiji. And there in Rajasthan, North, Ajit Singh, Swamiji says, look after my mother, I have given her trouble, I have tortured her all my life. She is the only person whom I love. Please ensure that my mother gets basic necessities of life. So Raja Ajit Singh, Swamiji was he was a beloved disciple of Swamiji. So these two great people, and Swamiji's extraordinary relationship with Master Mahashai. Again, Master Mahashai, Master Mahashai was also a genius, intellectual genius. With that photographic memory, he gave us that immortal book, Kathamritam. So Swamiji writes, Master, you have hit Sri Ramakrishna in the right point. 1,00,000 thanks. It is a wonder that I don't go mad. My heart leaps in joy, and it's a wonder that I don't go mad whenever I find somebody thoroughly lodged in the doctrine of this gospel, which is going to shower peace on earth. So you are so original like our master. Language is so beautiful. You are completely hidden. Socratic dialogues are played all over. So that beautiful relationship with Master Mahashay. And again, Girish Chandra Ghosh, it was already mentioned, Girish Chandra Ghosh once said, Mahamaya cast her net, that Mahamaya net, to catch everybody. Everybody got caught, entrapped. Only two beings mother could not catch, entrap. One is Nag Mahashay, because he was so humble, embodiment of humility, he became so small, he could escape through the interstices of the net. And Naren was so big, so majestic, infinite, vast. Mother, Divine Mother's net could not entrap him. So here, Swamiji, Ishtavratananji said Swamiji was love personified, full of fun and all. One very touching incident, how this incident can help us in our day-to-day life. Swamiji was in Khetri, all of you know Swamiji was called to attend a dance program, he refused. Then that Nach girl sang, Prabhu Meri Mero Avaguna Chitna Dharo. You are Samadarshi. You don't look upon my evil qualities. So it's a great prayer for us, because when that song was sung, Swamiji's heart was touched. Swamiji was moved. Then tears flowed down his cheeks, and Swamiji said, please forgive me, mother, like this. So for us also, it can be a great prayer. Swamiji, please don't look upon my defects, deficiencies, evil qualities. You are Samadarshi, you are infinite, you are a cosmic personality, you are a spiritual colossus. Please forgive all my wrongdoing. So this Meri Laj Rakna, this in North India, this is a very famous song. Draupadi singing everywhere, Prabhu Meri Laj Rakna. So Swamiji, you please protect our honor, dignity. See that Swamiji was full of compassion, kshama. He forgave Mary Luby, Swami Abhayananda, Swami Kripananda, Leon Landsberg, Edward Toronto Study, E.T. Study, then Henrietta Muller, so many, Pratap Chandra Muzumdar, so much of jealousy. Swamiji did not have any bad feelings, bitter feelings about Pratap Chandra Mazumdar, who had done character assassination, who had done calumnized Swamiji's character. Sakshat Shivan Ninda had done. Swamiji said, that old man, forget it, he has gone mad with jealousy. So this Swamiji, he is Sakshat Shiva, he has warned us in one place. What he says, this Ramakrishna Sangha is the physical body of Sri Ramakrishna. Anybody trying to disrupt the unity, anybody trying to cast aspersions on this, anybody trying to obstruct the process of work, dharma samstapana, he or she will lose here and hereafter. That's the only curse Swamiji has pronounced. So we have to pray to Swamiji. Swamiji, make us pure, make us sincere. Swamiji everywhere said, I only hate two things. One is insincerity, and other is cowardice. So we have to, for us to pray for sincerity. Swamiji, please make me sincere, make me pure. Take away all my insincerity, hypocrisy, and cowardice. Because Swamiji taught us how to pray. He said, pray day and night in Swadesh Mantra to the Divine Mother of the universe. Mother, you are the mother of strength. Vouchsafe manliness unto me. Take away all my mean-mindedness, weaknesses, petty-mindedness. So Swamiji, if we study Swamiji, if we meditate on Swamiji, we may not become saints overnight, but gradually we will be rid of all petty-mindedness, jealousies, because jealousy is the bane of slavish mentality. Why India's progress is retarded? Because of jealousy. So Swamiji's love for householder disciples, extraordinary relationship with his brother disciples, we all know. Brahmanandji, he considered him as Raja, Emperor, Himalaya of spirituality. So Raja, his love for all the direct disciples we know. But his love for householder direct disciples. This incident took place, this touching, moving incident took place in Kashi. Swamiji was in Kashi with Pramad Das Mitra, Pramad Babu. This happened in 1890, April 13. News reached Swamiji's ears that Balram Basu has passed away. Swamiji started shedding tears, went into a state of depression. Pramad Babu asked, what is this? You are a monk. You have renounced everything. You are full of tyag and vairagya. How come you are weeping like an ordinary worldly man. Then Swamiji says, Pramod Babu, I may be a sannyasin, but I am not callous, I am not insensitive, I love my brother disciples. So Swamiji made no distinction between sannyasins and household disciples. Though to sannyasis, to sing the glory of sannyasa, he would tell, sannyasis are like Himalayas, Meru Parvat, and householders are like mustard seeds. But in another place, Swamiji has said, a true sannyasin is one who does not make any distinction between a householder and a sannyasin. That's why in Karma Yoga, that beautiful lecture, each one is great in his own place. A householder is great in his own place, and a sannyasin is great in his own place. So I always believe to install this sense of dignity in the lives of householders, in the minds of householders. Thakur had extraordinary householders: Master Mahashay, Nag Mahashay, Balram Basu, Surendra Mitra, Ramchandra Datta, Kalipada Ghosh, and that relationship with Girish Chandra Ghosh. So Swamiji, and then his disciples, so many householder disciples. So householders can derive a lot of strength. They're not inferior to anybody. Just because somebody is wearing a ochre-colored robe, has shaved his head, and a householder is not in any way inferior to a sannyasi. Swamiji tells, because Swamiji depended fully in the south on Alasinga Perumal, Bhaskar Setupati, Dr. Gidi, north Raja Ajit Singh, Haridas Vihari Das, Munshi Jagmohan, and in the west, Mr. and Mrs. Hale. Swamiji calls them that fun-loving. What a sense of humor Swamiji had. Father, Pope, and Mother Church. Mr. Hale, Swamiji called Father Pope, and Mrs. Hale, Swamiji called Mother Church. And as you all know, Hazra was his dear friend. So Thakur would denounce Hazra, but he was very dear to Swamiji. Tavzanda he used to call. Everybody he had given a nickname. So Mr. and Mrs. Legate, Francis Legate, Betty Legate, Captain and Mrs. Xavier, the Charlotte Elizabeth Xavier and John Henry Xavier. Swamiji loved them so dearly. Mrs. Blodgett. So we have meat sisters everywhere. Swamiji's love for householders. And then for me, it has been last 30 years when Swami Atmasananji Maharaj made us memorize Song of the Sannyasin. I find this is not meant for sannyasins alone. This small booklet is a powerhouse of inspiration, energy, guidelines, manual for life. This is the gist of all Vedanta. Advaita, highest philosophy is presented here, published by our Udbodhan, costing just 4 rupees. There, Swamiji answers every doubt, every question. A sadhaka. Here, sannyasin means a spiritual seeker, a seeker who is seeking the infinite, seeking that ultimate reality. What is my true nature? Why am I here? Why there is suffering here? For every question, Swamiji answers. What is the goal of my life? So Swamiji says, wake up the note, the song that had its birth. For everybody this is relevant, where lust and fame and greed could never reach. So Swamiji asks us to give, what are we to do? To give up lust, anger. Exactly like this is the Gita of the modern age. 700 verses, we find it difficult to remember, but this is Gita. Gitacharya is Swamiji in this age. So he says, you have to give Kama Krodha, like Shri Krishna says, Kama Esha, Krodha Esha, Rajaguna Samudbhava. Every chapter you have giving up this Kama and Krodha, lust and anger, greed, all those things. So second verse, Swamiji, I find it difficult to give up my bondage, I am in bondage. Then Swamiji says, strike off thy fetters like a commander. He is issuing orders. Strike off thy fetters, bonds that bind thee down, of shining gold, a darker, baser ore. Love, hate, good, bad, all the double throng. No slave is slave, caressed or whipped, not free. For fetters, though of gold, are not less strong to bind. Then off with them, sannyasin bold. He calls us bold. So for us, he says, my child, give up these things, these fetters, you must give up. Then he says, this thirst for life. Mother says, we must pray to Thakur for only one thing, nirvasana. So here Swamiji in the third verse says, this thirst for life, forever quench. It drags from birth to death and death to birth the soul. He conquers all who conquers self. Know this and never yield. Klaibyammas magamah partha. Never yield. Oh, Arjun, Shri Krishna is telling. So Swamiji is telling, my boy, never yield to these things. And then he says the importance of karma. Doing sat karma will give you good results. Doing bad karma will lead to bad results. He says, who sows must reap, and cause must bring the sure effect. Good, good, bad, bad, and none escape the law. But whoso wears a form must wear the chain. It too true. But far beyond name and form is Atman, ever free. No davar that sannyasin bold say. So this no davar that Swamiji again and again says, like a Upanishadic sage telling the disciple, Tattvamasi, Tattvamasi Shvetaketu. You are that infinite. You are not this tiny organic creature. You are not this petty-minded creature with body-mind complex, which is fragile and breakable, and it is vulnerable to all sorts of influences. You are this infinite, Swamiji gives. Then you say, Swamiji, I'm attached to my parents, I'm attached to my friends, I have a family, I have a wife and a child. Swamiji says, if you want the ultimate truth, you must develop this mental detachment. Swamiji very clearly, emphatically, without any ambiguity says, they know no truth who dream such vacant dreams as father, mother, children, friend. The sexless self, whose father he, whose child, whose friend is he, whose foe is he, who is but one. The self is all in all, none else exists. No davar that sannyasin bold, say Om Tat Sat. So Swamiji says, you must be bold, you must be courageous. Swamiji said, I hate cowardice. But we say, Swamiji, this body-mind complex can break any time, full of fear, because it is in genes. Like selfishness is in genes, survival instinct is in genes. This deep-seated fear, a sense of insecurity because of this embodiment is there. So Swamiji says, what is your true nature? He says, there is but one, always one. Swamiji says, Advaita, there is no second. There is but one, the free, the knower self, without a name, form or stain. In him is Maya, dreaming all this dream, the witness. He appears as nature's soul. No davar that sannyasin will say Om Tat Sat. You are that witness. You are that sakshi. This sakshi bhava, you must always maintain, cultivate. Swamiji is advising that. Then I say, Swamiji, I have last so many years I am doing tapasya, sadhana. I have visited that Tirtha Kshetra, this Tirtha Kshetra, studied Brahma Sutra, studied Vyakarana, studied Gita, studied Puranas, but still there is no peace of mind. I don't feel free. I feel bound. Then Swamiji says, where seekest thou that freedom, friend? This book, in temples or in books, vain thy search. Thine only is the hand that holds the rope that drags thee on. Then cease lament. Let go thy hold. Sannyasin bold say Om Tat Sat. Swamiji makes a very important observation. Cease lament. Dukh nahi karna, shok nahi karna, natvam shochitum arhasi. Shri Krishna again and again says, shok nahi karna, because this grief can cut off divine grace. So Swamiji in one place he says, by being pleasant and smiling and cheerful, you can reach God quicker than any prayer. So this itself is a sadhana. Swamiji says, if you feel depressed, shut yourself in your room, don't go out. You have no right to infect other people. This depression can be a contagious disease. And then Swamiji gives how to cut the bond, so difficult. This chichada granthi, this body, dehatma buddhi is so difficult. Swamiji says, as you think, so you become. There is tremendous power in thoughts, ideas. As we think, so we become. Swamiji says, always say peace to all. From me, no danger be to aught that lives. In those that dwell on high, those that lowly creep, I am the self in all life, both here and there do I renounce, all heavens and earths and hells, all hopes and fears. Thus cut thy bonds, sannyasin bold say Om Tat Sat. So Swamiji gives this Presh mantra to everybody. It's an open secret. That is Shiva. He has broadcast this. So the thing is detachment, nirvasana. As Thakur says, ahankar abhiman tyag karna. And then we say, Swamiji, I do good work. We do good works, but people find faults with us. They insinuate motives. Whatever we do, some fault they find, and we are criticized, we are humiliated. What to do? Swamiji says, heed then no more how this body lives or goes. My child, its task is done. Let karma float it down. Let one put garlands on, another kick this frame. Say not. No praise or blame can be. Where praise are praised and blame are blamed are one. Thus be thou calm. Sannyasin bold say Om Tat Sat. So my son, be calm. Just have this witness attitude. It is one. So this constant oneness we have to remember. Then Swamiji, we say, Swamiji, I am striving, but impure thoughts come. Arjuna asks, why does a man fall Why does he commit violence in the third chapter? Then Sri Krishna says Kamesha, Krodesha and all. So Swamiji also gives a warning. Yatato hepi kaunteya purushasya vipaschitaha indriyani pramathini haranti prasavam manaha. Yatato hepi kaunteya. A person, a sadhaka is sincere, trying sincerely to reach the ultimate, but he goes astray. He loses his path. He becomes a yoga brashta. Indriyanam hi charatam yenmano anu vidhiyate tadasya harati pragnanam vayuriva vayu like a boat being blasted away by tempest, by cyclone. So what happens? Then Swamiji says, it's a warning. You have to be always alert. Satark rahna, sajag rahna. Uttishtata jagrata means this. Swamiji says very clearly, he issues a warning. Do you want the ultimate truth? She says, truth never comes where lust and fame and greed of gain reside. No man who thinks a woman is his wife can ever perfect be, nor he whom anger chains can ever pass through Maya's gates. So give these up, sannyas inward. So there is no other way. So giving up, tyage naiki, amritatva manashu. Then Swami says, sometimes Swamiji, food is not good, this place does not suit me, climate does not suit me, my favorite dishes are not available here. Swamiji says, have thou no home? What home can hold thee, friend? The sky thy roof, the grass thy bed, and food what chance may bring. Well cooked or ill, judge not. No food or drink can tame that noble self. Like rolling river, free thou ever be. Sannyas inward, say Om Tat Sat Om. Then we say, Swamiji, I don't feel like working. I feel like meditating. Not interested in your Jagat Hidayacha. It makes us extrovert. It makes us rajasic, and people criticize, humiliate. So the best way is to do this japatapa and all, this missionary activities, working in hospitals, educational institutions, bring in a lot of problems. So Swamiji says, don't worry about what people criticize. Don't worry about it. Few only know the truth. The rest will hate and laugh at thee. But pay no heed. O great one, go thou the free from place to place and help them out of darkness, Maya's wheel, without the fear of pain or search of pleasure, but go beyond them both. O sannyasin world, say Om Tat Sat Om. Then finally Swamiji says, thus day by day till karma's power spent, release the soul forever. No more is birth, nor I, nor thou, nor God, nor man. The I has all become, and the all is I and bliss. Know thou art that sannyas inward. So Swamiji again and again he says, know your true nature. How does it come? Through spiritual practices. Swamiji was full of Ishta Prema and Guru Bhakti. Ishta was Thakur and Guru Ma. So Thakur Mai and Swamiji, Matru Bhakta Swamiji. So for us, this Ishta Prema, Guru Bhakti is of tremendous importance. Spiritual practices, however busy we are, we have to do. And again Swamiji emphasized, this learning is very important, study is very important. It keeps the mind on a higher level. Otherwise it degenerates and we become like beasts. So spiritual practices, scriptural studies, and selfless service. There is no other alternative to this. A sannyasi is one who always strives to help people. There is a beautiful, touching incident. Emma Calvé, she was a French opera singer, a celebrity, a multimillionaire, a beautiful woman. She had a daughter. She died in a fire accident. She was very wealthy and beautiful and a huge fan following. She was haughty and arrogant and conceited. So her daughter passed away. She went into a fit of depression. She was in deep depression. Then she tried to take her life. She tried to commit suicide 4 times. But she didn't succeed. She was in depression, going through agony, misery, a wretched existence. Then somebody said, a Hindu monk has come. Why don't you visit? No, I don't believe in these Hindu monks. They are charlatans. They are fake. They are vagabonds, hypocrites. But one of her friends forced her, and Swamiji was in meditating without looking up. Swamiji said, my child, what an atmosphere you have created about yourself. You have created a mess about you. You have to be cheerful. You have to come out of this cocoon. This is self-created. Otherwise, you will lose everything. And then when Swamiji went on to reveal some very intimate incidents, she had kept them as deep secrets, hidden secrets. She had not revealed them to anybody. Swamiji revealed those secrets. Then she says, all my feverish complexes that were running havoc running right in my brain, disappeared, and I felt tremendous serenity, peace. And there's another beautiful incident. It can be a great source of inspiration for all industrialists and businessmen. There was a poetess, her name was Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Ella Wheeler Wilcox. She and her husband was a businessman. He was going through many difficulties, ups and downs. Economic depression was there, financial depression. So she by force took her husband to attend Swamiji's lecture. After attending the lecture, her husband said, Mr. Wilcox, this man, Vivekananda, makes me rise above every business worry. Now I can go back to my office with renewed strength and vigor. So that is Swamiji. Why Swamiji is so, his beloved, loved universally? Because he deals with human problems in a human way. That is how. He is so human. He deals with all our problems in a very, very human way. How many minutes? 5 minutes. So, what are Swamiji's important teachings? All of us have to remember this. Swamiji says, teach yourselves, teach everyone. Swamiji is exhorting us. This is a mandate, it's a command. What does he say? Teach yourselves, teach everyone his or her real nature. Tell everybody that you're divine. Every one of you has a bright future. Every one of you has a glorious future. You are not born to suffer. You are born to enjoy peace, fulfillment, joy in this world. So Swamiji whispers into our ears, every one of you is born to do wonderful things. You are all children of the Divine Mother, so never get depressed. So Swamiji says, teach yourselves, teach everyone his or her real nature. Call upon the sleeping soul and see how it awakes. Power will come, glory will come, goodness will come, purity will come, everything that is excellent, grand, majestic will come when the sleeping soul is roused to self-conscious activity. So Swamiji says, all power is within you. You can do anything and everything. You need not go to anybody for succor. And Swamiji is the one person who tells everything that you need is within you. Right now it is within us. It is inherent. All we have to do is to be aware of it, to express the divinity, to be conscious of it. That is why Netaji said, I can go on and on for hours, yet I will not be able to do the slightest justice to this great man. Swamiji, why is he so great? Gave us unprecedented self-respect, self-reliance, and self-assertion. A man of versatile genius, unceasing in his activities, merciless in his attacks, yet he was simple like a child, unbounded in love, infinite love. Rabindranath Tagore tells about Thakur, Tomar Jivane, Asimer Leelapathe, Nutan Tirtho, Rup Nilo Yei Jagate. So in Swamiji's life also, his life itself, a new shrine of harmony of everything, east and west, past and present, faith and reason, science and religion, and as Chandrakanta said, divine and human. Everything is blended so beautifully in Swamiji, a complete man, a universal man, crossing all frontiers, all barriers. So that's why another great son of Bengal, I always revere Aurobindo Ghosh. Aurobindo says, why I like, his language is so beautiful. He says, Swamiji was a real pure sense among men, a very lion among men. Swamiji's gigantic influence is still working imperceptibly. We are not able to understand who came in this world, to this world as Swami Vivekananda. He says he came to summon all of us to our divine heritage, the going forth of Vivekananda as destined by his master as a heroic soul, taking the world as it were between his two hands and changing. It was a sign that India was not only awake to survive, but to conquer. So that is the great homage Aurobindo says, and Chakravarti Gopalachari sums it up so beautifully. Vivekananda saved India and saved Hinduism. But for him, we would have lost our religion, would not have gained our freedom. Therefore, we owe everything to Swami Vivekananda. Ramesh Chandra Muzumdar, another illustrious historian of West Bengal, says, it's now a known fact that hundreds and thousands of young men and women during British struggle embraced death and suffering, faced British bullets with Vande Mataram composed by Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay and Swami Vivekananda's words in their hearts. So to end, Romarola says Swamiji's words are great music because music gives us great joy. It calms our mind, soothes our nerves, it acts like a balm. So Romarola says, Swamiji's words are great music, like Beethoven's compositions, like the stirring rhythms of Handel's choruses. I cannot touch these sayings of Swamiji without receiving an electric thrill through my body. Swamiji Vivekananda was a born king. Kingliness was his preeminent characteristic feature. Nobody ever came near Vivekananda without paying homage to his majesty. A man called Romarola, a French Nobel laureate, paying such a glorious tribute to our Swamiji. It makes us proud, it makes us blessed. We are extremely fortunate to have come in contact with the greatest personality of this age, Swami Vivekananda. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.